Welcome to the Daily AI News, brought to you by the Day After AI News channel.
Today is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. And I have to ask, did you look at your stock portfolio this morning?
I did, and I immediately regretted it.
Because if you haven't, maybe just don't. Grab a coffee, go for a walk, pretend the market doesn't exist for a bit.
It is a sea of red out there. I think bloodbath might be a little strong, but correction feels way too mild.
We are seeing what Wall Street is suddenly calling the SaaS apocalypse. Billions of dollars in market cap just, poof, evaporated. And we aren't talking about risky penny stocks.
You know, these are the big names, the bedrock of the modern enterprise.
Exactly. Cloudflare, Atlassian, Shopify, they're all down double digits in a single trading session.
And usually when you see a drop that steep, it's something macroeconomic. It's interest rates or a war or,
Another pandemic.
Right, but this time, it is purely technological.
It is. It feels like a realization, like the market finally woke up to what we've been whispering about for months. The idea that these AI agents, they aren't just cute little assistants that draft your emails.
No, they are replacements. And if they replace the work humans do, they completely break the business model of the entire software industry.
That's the core of it, right? The math has changed. So buckle up. Today, we are going to unpack this massive shift in enterprise software and explain exactly why the seat license, the way we've paid for software for 20 years, is effectively dead.
It really is.
But it's not all doom and gloom on the market. We've got a lot of drama to cover. We're going to look at the AI ad wars from the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Shots were fired.
Specifically between Anthropic and OpenAI. And Sam Altman did not take it well.
He did not.
He really didn't. We also have a very strange hardware mystery coming out of OpenAI involving a pen or maybe a pebble.
It's getting weirdly analog for a company that's all about digital.
And we'll wrap up with a bit of a reality check, a medical study that is, frankly, a little embarrassing for the human race. It suggests that when we try to collaborate with AI, we might actually be the weak link.
That study is going to bruise some egos, mine included.
So let's start with the money. The SaaS apocalypse. For anyone who doesn't live and breathe this stuff, SaaS is software as a service.
Think Salesforce, Zoom, Slack, Workday.
Right. And these stocks are down something like 12% across the board. Walk us through the logic. Why is this happening right now?
Okay, so to understand the crash, you have to understand the business model that's powered tech for the last 2 decades. It's the per-seat model.
The license.
Exactly. If you run a company and you hire a new HR manager, you have to buy them a Workday license, a Slack license, a Microsoft 365 license.
Right. So headcount equals revenue. If my company grows, the software company grows. It's a direct correlation.
A beautiful, predictable model. But yesterday, the market got a really clear look at the reality of what are called agentic workflows, specifically from a report on Goldman Sachs.
Banks have been using AI for a while, but this is different.
Very different. They are deploying Anthropic's Claude to automate accounting and compliance.
And when we say compliance at a bank like Goldman, we're not talking about just checking a box.
No. This is the heavy lifting. This is trade processing. This is client due diligence. Know your customer. Check against sanctions lists. Verify assets. That used to be the job of an army of analysts, all operating complex software. Now you have autonomous agents doing a lot of that work.
And here's the kicker, right? An AI agent doesn't need a user interface. It doesn't need a seat.
Precisely. If one agent can do the work of 10 humans and you stop hiring those 10 humans, well, you don't buy those 10 software licenses.
The whole growth model just collapses.
It does. The revenue projection for these big software giants is based on human population growth in the workforce. If AI creates a deflationary pressure on headcount, their models just fall apart.
So the market is pricing in a future where companies just buy less software.
Or they buy it differently. But the old model of charge per human login is over. And we're seeing this play out in actual personnel moves, too. Look at the news from Telstra.
Their joint venture with Accenture.
They're cutting 209 jobs. And they were very specific about why. They didn't blame the economy. They cited AI efficiencies.
It's happening at the very top, too. Workday, one of the absolute giants of HR software, just shuffled their leadership.
Right. Co-CEO Carl Eschenbach is out. Anil Boozri is back in. And the language they used was so telling. They talked about a new approach to labor in the age of AI.
Which is corporate speak for, we need to pivot before we get eaten.
100%. They know if their customers stop hiring humans, their revenue flatlines.
This reminds me of what Ali Ghodsi, the Databricks CEO, said this week. He made a really provocative point. He said SaaS isn't dead, but it's becoming irrelevant.
That word irrelevant is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. He's talking about the interface.
The part we click on.
Right. For 30 years, using software meant a human looking at a screen, navigating a menu, clicking a drop-down, typing into a form.
We're all trained to click buttons.
Ghodsi's argument is that with AI, the user interface is just natural language. You don't click buttons in a database anymore. You just tell the AI, show me our sales from Q3 and flag any anomalies, and it just does it.
So the underlying database, the system of record, that stays. We still need to store the data somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. The database stays. But the expensive, fancy interface that humans use, the part that Salesforce and Workday spend billions designing, it disappears.
Because no one is looking at the dashboard. An agent is doing the work through an API.
And the value of that expensive seat license just plummets.
It feels like we are moving from software as a service to, I don't know, service as a software. You just buy the outcome.
That's a great way to put it. You pay for the trade to be cleared, not for the tool that clears the trade. And to enable that, you need new plumbing. That's why OpenAI's new platform, Frontier, is such a big deal.
Tell us about Frontier.
It's designed specifically for this agentic future. It lets these enterprise agents connect directly to data warehouses, to CRMs. It effectively bypasses the human UI entirely. It's an API-first world.
And speaking of bypassing humans, OpenAI also just dropped GPT 5.3-Codex. The stats on this are wild.
It helped build itself.
It did. It was used to debug its own training data and build its own visualization tools. It combines massive coding strength with reasoning, and the reports say it's about 25% faster.
That sounds like science fiction. The machine building the machine.
It's recursive improvement. But the business insight here is really about the barrier to entry. If you have an AI that can build and fix software, well, the cost of creating new software drops to near zero.
Right. Why buy expensive generic software from a vendor when your AI can just code a bespoke tool for you in minutes?
Exactly. It really is a SaaS apocalypse from every angle. But let's pivot from that to the public stage, the Super Bowl.
Usually it's beer and pickup trucks, but this year it was the model wars. It was fascinating to see the rivalry play out on national TV. Anthropic really threw a punch.
Oh, the Short King ad. For those who missed it, you have to describe it.
It was brilliant marketing. They had this character, this guy trying to buy shoe insoles, and he's using an AI chatbot. But every time he tries to get a straight answer, the chatbot just interrupts him with these terrible targeted ads.
Have you considered these socks?
Yes, exactly. And the tagline was a total mic drop. Ads are coming to AI, but not to Claude.
Which is a direct shot at OpenAI
because OpenAI is testing ads. They just announced they're rolling them out in the U.S. for the free and go tiers.
So Anthropic is positioning itself as the premium, privacy-focused option, the Apple of AI.
And OpenAI is taking the Google route. Monetize the eyeballs.
And Sam Altman did not take the joke well.
No, he really didn't. He took to X, formerly Twitter, and called Anthropic's ad dishonest and authoritarian.
Authoritarian. That seems like a really heavy word for a Super Bowl commercial about shoe insoles.
It shows you how high the stakes are. But, you know, Anthropic is feeling confident. They are closing in on a $20 billion funding round, valuing them at $350 billion.
With backing from NVIDIA and Microsoft.
Yeah. They aren't the underdog anymore. They are a legitimate rival.
Now, all of these agents and ad wars, they require just a massive amount of computing power. And there was a big announcement from Cisco this week that sort of flew under the radar.
Ah, yes. The picks and shovels of the AI gold rush. Cisco launched the Silicon One G300. It's a switch chip.
Okay, which sounds incredibly boring. Why should our listener care about a switch chip?
It sounds boring until you realize the scale.
Yeah.
It moves data at 102.4 terabits per second.
Put that in perspective for us. What does that even mean?
It means it's enough bandwidth to stream the entire Netflix catalog in 4K to millions of people all at the same time in a split second.
Wow.
It allows companies to scale their AI clusters up to 128,000 GPUs.
And why do we need that much speed?
Because of the agents. When a human browses the web, we're slow. We click, we read, we scroll. When an AI agent works, it's sending thousands of queries per second. It just hammers the network.
Without this kind of throughput, the whole agentic future just grinds to a halt.
Exactly. And another crucial detail, they mentioned liquid cooling, right?
They did.
These systems run so hot that air cooling, fans, it just doesn't work anymore. The physics don't allow it. The new Cisco systems are 100% liquid cooled.
So the data center of the future is basically a massive plumbing project.
Essentially. They also introduced a software suite called Agentic Ops, which is specifically designed to manage the network traffic from all these autonomous AIs, because machines do not behave like humans on a network.
Let's stay on hardware for a second, because the rumor mill around OpenAI's own hardware is spinning completely out of control. We've heard about earbuds, we've heard about something called the dime. What is actually going on?
It's a bit of a mystery wrapped in a riddle, but the leading theory right now involves a pen.
A pen in 2026.
Yes. Sam Altman and Jony Ive, the legendary Apple designer who gave us the iPhone, are apparently both pen nerds. The speculation is that they're building a device that looks like a pen but acts as a compute interface.
How would that even work?
Well, think about ambient computing. The goal is to get the screen out of your face. Glasses are intrusive. Earbuds cut you off from the world socially.
Right.
But a pen, it's a tool for thought. Maybe it projects visuals, or maybe it digitizes your handwriting in real time.
So I write in a notebook, and the AI just captures it.
Exactly. It fits with Altman's recent comments about wanting a device that aids focus rather than distraction.
Unlike that orb device we saw all over social media this week.
Oh, the orb. That viral ad with Alexander Skarsgård.
It looked incredible, so sleek, so futuristic.
And totally fake. Turned out to be a hoax from a frustrated job seeker, a bookkeeper actually, who just wanted to show off his video editing skills.
Well, he certainly gained everyone's attention. But it just shows how hungry the market is for a new form factor. We are so tired of rectangles.
We are. But while OpenAI is playing with pens and concept art, India is playing a different game. We saw some really big moves in sovereign AI this week.
This is a really important trend.
It is. Countries are realizing they can't just rely on US-centric models like GPT-4. There's a concept they're calling digital asymmetry.
What does that mean?
It means nations are exporting their data, their culture, their language, and then importing tokens or AI services from American companies. They're losing control. So you have Indian startups like Sarvam AI launching tools specifically for India.
And these aren't just GPT clones, right? They're solving local problems.
Exactly. Sarvam launched a tool called Sarvam Vision. It's an OCR optical character recognition engine designed for messy Indian paper records.
Because not everything is a crisp PDF in the real world.
Right. We're talking crumpled paper, government stamps over text, 3 different languages on one page. Google's Gemini struggles with that kind of messiness because it wasn't trained on it. Sarvam Vision excels.
And they have a voice engine, too.
Bulbul. It handles 11 different Indian languages. This is all about accessibility, making AI work for the billion people who don't speak English as a first language. It's a great example of AI fracturing into these specialized sovereign ecosystems.
Okay, I want to switch gears to something that really caught my eye. We talk a lot about how smart these models are becoming, but there is a study published in Nature Medicine that suggests we might be the problem.
This is a fascinating study. So they took nearly 1,300 participants in the UK and gave them a bunch of medical scenarios. They had to diagnose the condition and decide what to do, call an ambulance, see a GP, stay home.
And they had help from the big guns, GPT-4o, Llama 3, Command R plus Rio.
Right. Now, when the LLMs did the task alone, they were incredibly accurate. GPT-4o, for example, identified the correct condition about 95% of the time.
That's better than most doctors on a first pass.
It is. But here is the kicker. When the humans used the LLM to help them, they performed worse than the control group who just used Google or their own common sense.
Wait. Having the superintelligent AI made them perform worse. How is that even possible?
It all comes down to a communication breakdown. The analysis showed 2 main failures. First, the humans gave the AI incomplete information. They didn't describe the symptoms accurately, garbage in, garbage out.
And the second failure.
Even when the AI gave the right answer, often it was in a list of possibilities. The humans failed to pick the correct one. They would override the AI based on their own biases.
So the tool works, but the operator.
The operator is the weak link. It suggests that just giving people access to a medical AI isn't enough. In fact, it might be dangerous if they don't know how to prompt it or interpret the output correctly.
That leads perfectly into the regulation side of things. Governments are starting to realize that this human element needs guardrails. We saw a big move in Australia this week from ASIC.
Yes, the Australian Securities and Investments Commission came down hard on a firm called FII Securities. They fined them $2.5 million for a cyber failure that leaked client data.
And this is significant because
It's the first civil penalty of its kind. It sets a precedent that companies are liable for not having robust cybersecurity. And in an age of AI agents where data is flowing faster than ever, remember that Cisco chip security failures are going to be more common.
Australia also updated their radio rules.
Yeah, via the ACMA. This is a direct response to what we've seen in newsrooms. Companies like Southern Cross Austereo have been cutting staff and using automation. The new rules say commercial radio must disclose when a synthetic voice is used.
It's about transparency.
Exactly. If the newsreader is a bot, you have a right to know.
We have to end this segment on a darker note, unfortunately. There's a report from UNICEF regarding child safety and AI.
This is the shadow side of generative AI. The report highlighted just an explosion in AI-generated child sexual abuse material, or CSAM.
The numbers are terrifying.
They are. Reports of tech-facilitated abuse jumped from about 4,700 in 2023 to 67,000 in 2024. A huge part of this is from so-called nudification apps, AI, that just strips clothing from innocent photos.
And the platforms are struggling to keep up.
Or failing to. There are investigations into X's chatbot, Grok, right now, for its ability to generate deepfakes. It's a reminder that while we celebrate the efficiency of these agents and the brilliance of new models, the safety mechanisms are still lagging dangerously behind.
It's such a heavy mix of news today. On one hand, we have the SaaS apocalypse, where AI is becoming so efficient it's literally destroying business models. On the other, we have proof that humans are actually terrible at collaborating with AI in high-stakes fields like medicine.
It really highlights this tension in where the technology is going. We are building these agents to bypass human inefficiency in software. We want them to talk directly to the database because we're slow and we're expensive. And the medical study just confirms that, we're bad at filtering the right data for the AI.
It feels like the industry is drawing a conclusion here.
I think they are. And that leaves us with a provocative thought to chew on. If the data shows that AI performs better alone than with a human in the loop, as we saw in that medical diagnosis study, and if companies are actively building agents to bypass human software users, are we designing a future where human in the loop is considered a bug, not a feature?
Something to think about next time you struggle to explain your symptoms to a chatbot. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
See you next time.
Before you go, please subscribe to the podcast Prime. And if you enjoyed today's episode, hit like to support us. Thanks for listening and see you next time.